Hello, friends, and welcome to 10 Points Under, where I'm the map.
No. I'm the map.
Wait, no, I'm the map.
No, I'm the map.
I thought we agreed I'm the map.
Okay, you can be the map today.
Yes!
I get to be the map tomorrow.
I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map. I don't remember how many times they say that, but I'm the map! Welcome, friends, to a very special episode of 10 Points Under. Joining me today is none other than map maker, Flash19. Welcome, Flash.
Oh, thanks for having me. Again, a third time.
Yeah, man.
I'm worried that something bad will happen. Third time today.
I hope not. I sincerely hope not. But we'll see. It could be fun. So today we've got a little bit of a different video coming at y'all. This is actually an idea that Flash had and pitched to me after the first time we recorded together. Basically, this is going to be more of a map-focused video. The thought process there being that Flash, being the incredible map maker that he is.
Oh, stop it, big.
And me having played Heroscape before, we would join our powers as one to basically take a video where we're talking more about one of the maps that is being played on and discussing more on that than the the matchup. We'll still talk matchup, we'll still talk strategy and stuff, but we're going to be putting an extra and primary focus on the map and how it's being used and basically how it plays. So for this one, we've got a map from Superfrog, who is an awesome Heroscaper extraordinaire. I asked him and he said he would be fine with us using one of his maps for this. So this is actually a map that Superfrog submitted to the ARV map contest however long ago. I'm not sure how long ago that was.
Yeah, a few months ago, something.
Few months. Somewhere in there. Time is weird right now. Time is really weird right now.
It feels like it's been ages.
I know. But so this is a map he submitted to the contest. It is being playtested and reviewed by the ARV judges, of which Flash19 is one.
And Big is another.
I am another. Yes, that is correct. So this is a map that we've actually been reviewing on the inside to see if, basically whether or not to induct it into ARV something or other. I don't know if we ever have had a word for what we're inducting it into, but basically, what the judges think of it as a map. And so we thought that would make for a great map to be the first test subject of this video type. So this is, like I said, Superfrog's map. It's called By Babylon's Rivers. And yeah, as you can see, it's a swamp map. You got some cool stuff going on. Also making its debut in this video is my mouse cursor. So this will be fun. I've got a couple new apps, and this one's letting me kind of motion to stuff. I had an app that would let me draw. Unfortunately, the audio was garbage, so I'm still working on that. We'll see if we can get that in future. But I don't know. Is there anything in particular you think we should talk about at first, Flash? Or
first off, I know you did a little shout out to Superfrog. I'm going to do just a little shout out to Superfrog too. Honestly, and I'm not just saying this just because of all the people on Heroscapers, I would put Superfrog at the top of the list in terms of just people that are willing to help you out and somebody who's made so many contributions to the community with work on customs and work on maps. I mean, he's got lots of maps, some really great maps, and just being concerned about helping other people as much as you possibly can. So, way to be an awesome frog, Superfrog.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think he does so much. I mean, he makes tons of online maps for online play because he's also in the online tournament organizer scene. Yeah, definitely agree there. Superfrog comes recommended.
All right. Well, other than that, other than singing praises about Superfrog, yeah, just maybe starting with armies real quick and then getting into maybe some initial observations about the map and maybe how it influenced the way that we set up the way that we did. So I'm running the army on the left of the screen. I'm running drones, Eltahale, and Eldgrim is a little filler. Pretty simple, straightforward army, loaded up on drones, and not I wouldn't call them super competitive, right? But they can be a lot of fun. Especially if you're rolling really well with the D20. I do love Eltahale. She's Yeah, she's my favorite hero in the game, actually, just because of how versatile she is.
Yeah,
So
she's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah, and so I'm running. I guess I could have been motioning for that. We got those drones over here. We got El Tehel. We got Eldgrim right there. I'm running this army over on the right. I guess I didn't mention this earlier, but this is like usual, this is a pre-recorded game. We are not playing this live. We played it yesterday, actually, as at least as far as time to us goes. So we do know what happens. But that allows us to focus more on how the map is influencing the game. So I've got this army on the right. I've got Raelin the carry warrior because Raelin is a big map factor. It's a big thing or she's a big influence on boards and how they play out. I've also got Laglor. He's not super competitive. He's actually, I don't know, maybe only decent on this map in particular. But I got him because I've got Laglor to boost my Nikita agents, and I've got 2 squads of Maro dividers. So we've got like this nice little range potty army versus this melee swarmy army.
Yeah, and this is one of the main things that, at least I can speak for me, and I'm sure I can speak for you too, Biga. This is one of kind of the main army matchups that I focus on when I do testing for maps in the ARV. Get an army that likes to sit together, a pod army versus a strictly melee, to see, if there are certain features on the map that can be taken advantage of, where range can pot up really nice and just rain lead down on, or arrows, I guess
Right.
it could be arrows, or just random alien weapons from who knows where.
Yeah,
But point of the story, just, shooting down and just shredding through melee.
Yeah, I think that's probably melee versus range is probably one of the biggest army factors that you look into when you're like trying to see how strong a map is and if it'll work for a tournament pool. And you can see that comes in a lot of different ways. These armies, like we mentioned earlier, they're not the most competitive armies. They're just kind of fun armies that we put together. We did design the armies, like we talked about the armies before we played them against each other, just to make sure we didn't feel like, the range was just going to totally decimate the melee without really testing the map. We're trying to make it stress more the map instead of the figures in the armies.
Though one thing we did do that we kind of, if I can put it this way, manufactured just a little bit,
yeah,
is, and maybe this just kind of starts out with an observation about this glyph, or excuse me, about this map in general, is with the way that the height is placed, you're going to notice it's a little bit easier to develop out of the start zone to the left. And because of that, it does give the map just a little bit of your glyph, my glyph, right? And so that's kind of where we manufactured this. We wanted to see if having Wannick down by where this ranged pod is going to set up is just going to push it even that much further, push the advantage even that much further, if that makes sense. Whereas, obviously, on my side, if you will, up near the top, and you notice where Biga has set up his figures completely down at the bottom of the start zone. He's not even like contesting the area up there, right? So, that's pretty much like my glyph.
yeah, 100%. And I think that's something that even before the game starts, that's a really good thing to look at, is how the start zone is going to affect the play of the game. Because, you look at it, and this is very much my glyph in that this 7 hex in particular, this little space of ground, is super easy for my figures to develop onto. If I had placed up to the north side, trying to develop onto this, it's not even quite a 7 hex because there's this height encroaching upon it, but trying to get onto this part is just going to be so difficult. This is
especially including those battlements right there.
Yeah. So, these battlements, I think actually, I don't think. I know in the usual online version, superfrog does not have battlements right here. In the version that he submitted to the ARV contest, he did. And so we were testing it with the battlements for this. I think, though, that judges have played it both ways, if I spoiler that a little bit. I don't think that's a bad thing to say that some played online and didn't think about those battlements. But even with those battlements gone, you've still got, if you're thinking about normal 5-move figures, with the battlements there, you've only got 2 that can hit this high ground out of the start zone, these 2 spaces right here. If those battlements are gone, then that turns into 6 figures. I think these 6 figures could get to these 4 spaces. Whereas over here, you've got like this whole 7 hex can move to this whole 7 hex. And then you've also got these guys who can also get up. So there's just like a big difference in how that's going to play out right at the beginning.
Yeah.
With that, anything else you think we should talk about before we start the game, or go ahead and rock and roll?
Yeah, let's go ahead and rock and roll.
Alrighty.
I'm going to have to be extra careful not to let any spoilers slip.
Here we go. All right, so Flash does take initiative the first round, which I was very happy to see.
Yeah, we've talked before about how taking first round initiative really is more of a disadvantage than an advantage, unless you're running Zelrig.
Right? Yeah.
Or the Airborne Elite dropped.
Airborne Elite are nice. Yeah, there's a few exceptions, but I think especially in this, like especially a melee versus range battle, I think we see this a little bit later, but this allows me, like going second allows me to, and this isn't a commentary on the map as much, but I like to show it while I can. It allows me to be able to like set up my screen, and then since Flash has had a couple turns developing up his forces, I can use order marker 2 or 3 to start sniping figures that are advancing, especially when I've got Laglor's +2 range to the Nikita to get 8 range. It's pretty nice to be able to take early pot shots with and just get a little bit of early momentum.
Yeah. Now notice something really important starting this game off is notice the position of Raelin, and that typically I think in a competitive game, if you've got Raelin, order marker 1 is on Raelin.
Mm-hmm.
But for Biga, you don't even have to move Raelin.
Yeah, order marker 0 is on Raelin.
Yeah.
And same goes for Laglor too, which, not every game is going to have Laglor, but both Raelin and Laglor, like Raelin is covering up to this line of hexes. And like basically this little crook right here. So I can have dividers up to here without ever having to move Raelin, which is why I put her there. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Laglor, again, he's a little more army dependent than map dependent, but still, he can reach this line. So I can have dividers here and Nikita here shooting over top of the dividers. Does that actually happen in this game? I don't know. Let's find out. But it's just like that ease of army setup that I don't love to find in a map.
Yeah, so you'll notice, as we were playing this game with that order marker 2, I've played this map before. I know how it plays. You might look at that drone placement and think, well, that was really aggressive. Moving all of them over to the left. Mm-hmm. Instead of moving some down, towards Wannick, towards you, instead of developing up more towards the left. But I felt like, and kind of based off previous experience, yes, it is easier to develop to the left, but then I've got to come across road. I've got to come across 2 little road speed bumps, or kind of come around and then potentially give you more shots over the top of those dividers. And then also where you've got those 2 dividers positioned in between the 2 castle wall pieces. Yeah, right there. Coming up and trying to attack from lower ground up on that position. I didn't want to be making those kinds of attacks because those dividers are already backed up by Raelin. So I figured bring in some drones up. So hopefully, I'm on same level, right? On that level 2, hopefully I'd be able to get a few through to contest that position.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely, like you said, with this map, that's kind of, it's not a play that you usually want to make that early, trying to like rush out, but on this map you kind of have to, which kind of like, we've been talking about it, but you can kind of see those pathing issues just coming into play, where I've got a very easy time of choking things up and saying, and I've already got the range, I'm already saying come at me, but if he doesn't come at me early on, then I can just shore up my defenses here. Depending on how long it takes, I could even move up Raelin to up here and protect an even wider area, protect the glyph, hold Wannick. That's a really big thing too, is if I've got the range and I'm holding Wannick and I've got dividers up here because Steve gave me that much time, then that's just a really, really bad position.
Yeah.
You will notice that I did take a shot at Eldgrim earlier, and I put a wound on him. Didn't quite kill him, which was a bummer. Oh yeah, and this is your first time. Let's see, you rolled 15 on this one, so we've got 6 drones coming up. So there were a lot of swarm shenanigans in this game.
Hey, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! So, kind of my mindset here is with Bigga bringing out that Nikita. Notice that that farmost drone. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. The drone that's closest to Eldgrim, that's 6 spaces to that Nikita. So I'm kind of, an opportunity opened up there that he brought that Nikita up. So I decided to send a couple drones up that way while trying to develop a few more down at the bottom, and then trying to get some drones in to make a couple attacks.
But boy, is rolling 5 defense dice nice. And that was a really good catch from Flesh. I did have my order marker 3 on my dividers. So you'll see right here with this guy, I'm going to move him right here. Yep. So that I can block that possibility. In the case of an initiative switch happening, I'll still be able to retreat my Nikita and take a shot. That's not super ideal because now this drone is outside of Raelin's aura. But one thing that I was loving at the time while playing this game was the fact that not only do I have this little area of choke point to just block off pretty easily with Raelin controlling it, this space in particular also blocks off a lot of attack into my start zone. And so if Eldgrim was one space close, in my perfect world, if Eldgrim were a space closer and I could have been like a space further back and then have this drone right there, then that would have been great to be able to just clog that up right there. Even though still it's not quite ideal, it's still a really nice choke point to be able to keep Flash from being able to just mass up here and then swarm over this way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really glad you brought that up. Yeah, even dancing around the top and the side there doesn't work too well, because Raelin can still help your screen to clog that position.
Mm-hmm. Which is why Raelin wrecks maps. And hopefully this is just one matchup, right? We designed it to be representative of a pretty wide variety of matchups, but it's still just, dividers and Nikita, Raelin versus a bunch of drones in Eltahale. But hopefully even there, basically what I'm hoping is that the viewers will be able to take this example and think, okay, so these are dividers. Imagine if these were Death Reavers, and I just had to spend 1 order marker to put 1 here, and then 3 up here, because with 6 moves, I could probably get them about right there. And then I don't even have to put order markers on them because this is where you're hitting me, and I can just keep scattering right up to the front. Of course, that changes with the special attack, but still. And that's a very different meta as well, whether people have special attacks or not. But, sure. That's another conversation. I think the point still stands of, this kind of just blocking off strategy. Or same thing if, I had 4th Mass, I could just take this whole hex with 4th Mass, and you still don't want to attack up on these hexes, so you're still trying to funnel through with your melee around this way.
Yep. And, I'm running drones. Drones 6 move, right? Which, imagine if I'd been running something with 4 move or even 5 move.
Right.
It would have been even harder for me to get to you. You notice there, I rolled to activate 6 drones again. So that's back-to-back rolls where I've activated 6 drones, which was huge in being able to slow roll up some reinforcements, and it made it so my aggressive play early in the game wasn't quite so, or it didn't come back to bite me so much.
Yeah, it's really nice. If you were only moving 3 figures at a time, I'd just be picking you off fairly easily with the 8 range here, because there's not a ton of safe spaces to hide. You could, this is a decent space to hide, really, behind the hive. Yeah. Then you can kind of come around. But again, there's just this choke point right here that keeps that from being super effective. But it's a decent way to try to get in there.
Yeah, it's either you choose that choke point or you come down right at the area where we were pointing to before, attacking up on those 2 spots in between the castle walls.
Right.
Having said that one castle wall that's off by itself, Yeah, just 3 hexes down from where your arrows. Yeah, that one right there. That is a good spot.
It is
for a wall, and does, I think you'll notice, it did limit a couple shots that Bigga could have taken at drones throughout the game.
Yeah, I was actually very annoyed with this single wall. With like this one is very, very well placed, because that means that this Nikita, basically I can't have a Nikita on this even ground and shoot basically even ground to this guy, which was a shot I was really looking to take because I wanted that even ground shot. But between this column and then these battlements right here, I just didn't think I could quite have that shot. Maybe from this hex. Like, I think if the figures are big enough, maybe from this hex to that hex can do it. But I don't think in the case of Nikita and drones, that's quite true.
Yeah. But then you'll also notice between that one wall piece that we've been mentioning and the walls down at the bottom of the map, I mean, that's allowing, the way you've set up, it's only allowing for me to get in 2 at a time.
Mm-hmm. Which, like, it's not, I feel like generally if you've got a lot of small choke points, like, I mean, because I don't want to be called a hypocrite later when I talk about maps that I love, like Draugr, for example. I watched a game earlier on Draugr today. It was really cool. And that one's got a lot of, like, 2 hex passageways.
Yeah.
Which works in that one because there's, like, a lot of ways to get through it. Here, where I'm forcing a battle to this specific location so easily, in this case, it's acting more of a detriment because Flash can only get so many attacks at a time. I'm forcing him to attack up right here. And so it's a pretty different situation when those choke points come into play.
Yeah, so we're starting to see those drones go down.
Yep, just hanging back, picking them off. I mean, like, since Flash is being forced to come in here so much, I've got too many drones to be able to really take even ground. I've just got my Nikitas sitting back here. They're just plinking up. I got one on even ground who can shoot even further back if I get lucky on my first couple of hits. But, I mean, this is just a really nice setup for me, too. And then I think we see this right here. Oh, yeah, there's your 20.
Yeah, there's a 20. So that's 3 turns in a row, if I've been paying attention correctly or remembering correctly, where I've moved 6 or more drones. And it's like, how often does that happen in a game?
Right.
But that was so huge for me in this game in, helping me to keep a threat up and to develop units out.
Yeah, that's a lot of drones coming in. But even then, like, with how I've got this set up, I mean, like,
yeah, I was still limited.
I was still talking to Flash at the time. I'm like, I still feel pretty safe because he's going to get a couple attacks right here. He's got a couple drones right here that can, like, run around here. But I do have a Nikita here to force an engagement strike if he tries to swarm. Like, if he tries to hit Raelin, he's got 2 engagement strikes. This one here on Laglor gets punched in the face, and so that one gets taken out.
Yep.
And so I've just got, like, a really nice defensive situation going on. So, yeah, kind of weird when your opponent rolls a 20 for Hive Swarm, and you're like, that's fine.
Yeah, no big. Throughout this whole game, I debated over and over again sending drones to take that lower ground to attack up. But I feel like that just would have been playing even more into biggest strategy and allowing potential attacks down, whether he had the order marker on drones or Nikita, dividers or Nikita. I mean, dividers would get attacks down. So I felt it was just in my best interest to try and slow roll them, on height and just taking the couple attacks that I could from same level.
Yeah, it was, I mean, like, really, this game was me forcing a battle of attrition between the two of us, which was favorable for me in that I had a very defensible location. I have Raelin. I've got girls who punch you in the face if you get too close. Ooh, that was a nice 2 wounds. I remember those 2 wounds that hurt. But on Flash's benefit, just so that it's not total doom and gloom on Flash's side, he did have, let's see, this was 5 squads, right, of drones?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so he had 17 total figures where I had 11. So he had 6 more figures than me, which is a pretty good amount of figures when I've got this much of a figure deficit. So that was a good thing going for him.
Yeah, and they're fast moving, right? That 6 move was huge for me.
Yeah, 6 move. Again, he moved 6 figures twice in a row, and then he moved 9 figures this last turn. So he had a lot of good stuff going for him. Nice thing about being able to force this battle is I get to, Flash mentioned it earlier, I was able to alternate between Nikita agents and then also dividers in order to like reposition my screen a little bit and still take the same quality of attacks. I think just on a strategy note right here, I was debating about whether or not to take this divider and run it back to attack this drone, or how much I cared about Laglor being attacked freely at this point in the game. Ultimately, I decided not much because 6 life, 5 defense is pretty nice.
Yeah, and I was a little nervous about chancing engagement strike again because I just first time I chanced it, I lost a drone.
Yeah. That's always the worst, I feel like, when you're first, like when you first try to engage in Nikita, and that's the one that goes through, because then for the rest of the game, you're like, oh man, what if it happens again? Whereas, like, if you try it a couple times and, like, the first 2 don't go through and then the third one does, then you're like, oh, that's okay, I've still got a chance.
Right.
Just interesting mind games that happen during the game.
Yeah, totally. And then, yeah, right there, I'm going to roll another 16, which I'm on load-in.
Yeah, so that's 7. That one hit, right? Because 17 was the cutoff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another 9 drone figures that he's going to get to move. At this point, it is all of his remaining drones. Oh, no, wait, all but 1. But even still, I was not super concerned. Because, I mean, again, these are the only places where he gets good engagements. If he tries to go for these low engagements, then that's a 3v6, which isn't really, it's not the worst thing ever. But I guess 3v6 plus I also have a d20 roll to try to save myself with a divide.
Right.
So still, like, it's not the worst odds ever, but I feel very safe with that. These 2 over here have been kind of forced this way by the pathing of the map, and so they're still a couple turns away from engaging me.
Yeah, I spent a long time right there debating if I wanted to take those attacks up, but then just felt like I was playing too much into your hands, into your strategy there, giving you too much of an advantage attacking down, considering the probability of one of my attacks actually going through and killing one of your guys.
Right. And I think also, yeah, this is your 3rd order marker. And I've got 1 more turn. So that could turn into me taking my 3rd turn, killing those guys, and then winning initiative and just like totally turning things around. I think I don't remember if this was the point, but you were talking about like just the timing of the attack, and maybe if this was like, I think it was this one actually, where you were saying maybe if this was order marker 1 instead of order marker 3, you'd try to go for this because you wouldn't have the initiative switch on top of that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up. I remember that. Yeah, now that you mention it. Yeah, if that initiative switch threat hadn't have been there, I think maybe I would have chanced it at this stage in the game where, I mean, you've noticed the drones are starting to fall fairly quick now. I took a little bit of a risk and dumped a drone on Wannick, even though it might not look like it. You still, because of the position you're in, I mean, you are in control of Wannick right now with those Nikita agents. So,
yeah, this is like just still a very dangerous spot for you because of, I mean, even without Laglor, I think with 6 range, I can still hit that. Well, I guess we did talk about whether or not I'd be able to see it from there. I think I take a shot later on. Battlements are kind of hard to tell online, unfortunately, but
yeah, so this right here is where, I mean, understandably, you're going to take a shot down on Wannick.
Yeah, and it's just such a stronger position for me to be holding. Like, I mean, even though you've got this level 3 ground, it doesn't matter because I've got range, and so I'm forcing you to come down. Like, if say, like, we both had ranged figures, I think this would still be stronger for me because you wouldn't be able to develop as easily up here.
Right.
And so, like, if we both have range, that turns into me coming up over here, you coming up over here, and then us being like, okay, who's got the better glyph?
Right. Down to 3 squads of drones. Yeah, I was fortunate to get a couple kills on dividers as early as I did in the game.
Yeah, that was going pretty well for you. But, I mean, like, even then, me killing 7 drones, you've only killed 2 dividers and had 3 wounds on Laglor.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty big difference. I will say, like I've said a few times, I was pretty comfortable throughout this game as far as when you got those big swarm rolls. I was always, though, fearing Eltahale because I felt like Eltahale could maybe solo my whole army. Because she's pretty good against low numbers of figures.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, that was that ended up being fortunate that drone on Wannick didn't die. I was able to get one wound in.
Yeah. Took it on Raelin.
And then I can't remember if you do end up with the initiative switch here. And then I was just really grateful that I hadn't stuck all my drones down.
I think I do actually end up with the initiative switch. I don't remember exactly, but I don't know, we could take a bet.
I bet you 6 Starburst jelly beans.
Starburst jelly beans? Heck yeah.
Dude, Starburst jelly beans are so delicious.
For reals, though.
Man, Bigga, you're just taking forever to set your order markers.
I know.
Good heavens. Oh, actually, I think that was when we had a bathroom break.
That might have been it. Actually, I was just thinking that as well.
Yeah, see, you do win the initiative switch here. So after that, especially learning that, I was really grateful that I hadn't moved my drones down.
Right. Especially because this is probably the part of the game. Like at this stage, I'm very, very solid in my defenses. This threat in the back has been cleaned up. You're totally focusing on the front. You've got one drone who can run in and try to attack my Nikita agent, but
it's still going to take him 2 turns to get there.
This one? This one's on road. It can make it.
Oh yeah, duh. Sorry, he is on road. Yep.
Yeah. It's okay.
Sorry, went blind for a second.
It's okay if you forget that road is a thing.
I blame glasses.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so I rolled the 14 there. That's another turn where I get to move 6 drones. So the D20 and how many drones I was able to move sure did love me this game.
It really did. And I think at this point I was kind of taking a note of usually if... Actually, you know what? I went back and I recorded the stats. So usually if, at this point, if a drone player gets...
Oh, and notice the engagement strike right there. It killed that drone I engaged. That's 2 in a row.
And that D20 defense, even then, even if you survived that, I still have a 3v5, so I'm still feeling pretty good. But if usually when a player gets about 5, I think it's 5 at this point, right? 5 turns with at least 6 drones a turn, things are looking pretty bad for the other player. But looking at this game, you'd think that I was the one who was taking turns with 6 figures a turn.
Yeah, serious.
Oh, there's my divide. See my divide roll right there? I got an 18.
Yeah, there you go.
I blocked that wound. I didn't get to bring back a divider, though. I was pretty bummed about that.
And thankfully, I got the other one.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm really hesitant to bring in drones against Nikita because that's the 2 times that you've rolled for engagement strikes. Yeah, you're 2 for 2. But I do think we're going to hit that stage of the game where I recognize, I've got to get you down. If I can get you down to at least 2 Nikita agents, I'm going to stand more of a chance with Eltahale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really at this point, your drones are just kind of... And they're not winning the game on their own, so they're just trying to pave the way for Eltahale to be able to come in.
Yep.
This is me abusing that choke point again, being able to say, hey, you can come in here and try to engage Laglor or Raelin, but you're going to get punched. Or you can try to just engage my Nikita. You're still going to get punched. Because I'm 2 for 2. Feeling pretty good about it at this point. Oh, and Flash does roll a 2 for his Hive Swarm at this point, so he finally takes a turn with only 3 figures again.
Yeah. When I only have 4 drones left, of course.
Yeah, right?
That is really discouraging, though, when you... when you only have just a couple drones left and you roll and you get a 20 and you're like, oh,
I know,
man.
right? But right here, you had your first successful engagement.
Yeah, so then I'm debating going for it again. And also debating if I want to, number one, if I want to risk the engagement strike or if I want to try and come around and start hitting Raelin.
Mm-hmm.
And I decide, I think my rationale, if I remember correctly, is I'm just... At this stage, I've got to get... Because I'm not going to be able to kill Raelin with one drone.
Right.
Whereas my chance of actually killing a Nikita is so important for end game, bringing out El Tahel, that I decided to take the attack on the Nikita that didn't go through.
Yeah.
There.
And I think that was, I do think that was the correct move. Because if you try to come around, I could have just shot down on it with this Nikita or something like that. And you do kill this one.
Yeah, which was big. I was really, really grateful for that.
So grateful, in fact, that come Thanksgiving, that's what he's going to share with his family as his grateful point of the year.
Serious. I remember back in June when I was playing a game of Heroscape, I killed a Nikita agent when I really needed to.
And then there's me blanking my rolls.
Yeah, that helped me out a ton too.
Yeah. It's kind of weird casting your own game.
Yeah, it is weird, huh?
Say that really quick because, oh yeah, hey, look, there's that 20 that you rolled.
Yeah. Yep. Because I'm on loading, so there's there's 20.
You thought he was just talking hypothetically. He was not.
No. I speak from experience.
Because I did not have load-in. It's that attack.
Yeah. Ooh, so close though.
So there's the lesson. Loden got him a 20. It boosted one of his 16s to a 17 to let him take a turn with 9 drones. Whereas Wannock, that's only done 1 wound to Raelin. So Loden's the more powerful glyph here.
Yes. That is exactly what we're trying to demonstrate with this game. So I think I'm debating here. Oh, yeah, I think that turn took me so long because I was debating for a second if I wanted to try and swing around and start putting wounds on Raelin.
Oh yeah, with this guy.
Then figured to stick with the Nikita.
Yeah, again, I think that was a good call because I think I do remember talking about that a little bit, like going for Raelin or potentially Laglor because he is within killing range, but yeah, you really just needed to kill those squad ranged figures to make things easier for Raelin for El Tahel as she comes in.
Okay, yeah, it looks like this is end of the round.
Mm-hmm. And this was a pretty tricky initiative, actually.
Yeah, 4 drones. The way you've been killing them,
right?
Yeah, but then you're crippled, going down from 3 Nikitas to 2.
Yeah, that's huge.
And especially you've got 3 dividers now. Granted, with one of them, I think you are going to debate taking that one and coming around if I remember our conversation correctly, coming around the wall to attack that drone that's engaged with the Nikita on the road.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that actually, but yeah, that is a thing that I thought about.
So yeah, do you want 3 potential attacks with dividers? Do you take 2 with the Nikita?
Yeah, and I think in the end, you'll see I've got 2 order markers on dividers. Basically, I decided if I lose initiative, even if I win initiative, it's always better to get the 3 attacks than the 2 attacks with the dividers.
Yeah.
I did want to have the potential to be able to move my Nikitas into better positions. For example, if my first turn went well, I wanted to be able to reposition my Nikita. But I don't remember exactly how the rest of the round pulls out. I think order marker 2 is on dividers as well, just because I was having nightmares of flash winning initiative and killing my Nikitas, because that would have been really bad for me.
Yeah.
So
it's 2 solid attacks. Yeah. Taking out 2 drones.
And at this point, Flash has just given up on rolling for the Hive Swarm.
Yeah, so I decided to swing that one around, engage those 2 dividers, hopefully lock them down a little bit. Because, obviously, I'm switching over to El Tahel pretty quick.
Right, yeah. So these drones are just trying to do as much damage as they can before they're fizzled out. This actually ended up hurting me a little bit, I think, in that moving around here was able to kill that drone, which was nice, but now I couldn't quite get a good attack on one of these drones, so.
Yeah.
Small thing. But, I was still in a pretty happy position. I was bummed that I couldn't get a divide now that my my dividers were freed up.
Yeah, those dividers, man, they were hitting pretty hard.
Yeah, they were a force.
Oh, I did actually have one more order marker on drones. So yeah, we're going to risk it for the biscuit. In fact, I think I actually said that right as I made this move.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
I think I did a shout out to True too, didn't I?
I think so.
Okay. I did a shout out to True. I said it's time to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, because I think you were like debating, do I go for the Raelin, or sorry, do I go for the Nikita? Do I just take the drone hit? Trying to decide it's the last drone. What do I do? But ultimately, yeah, you Leroy Jenkins it, aka risked it for that biscuit.
Oh, I did. Wow. Here's me like, did I take another bathroom break or something here?
No, it was a biscuit break.
Wow, my cousin makes fun of me all the time for playing slow. Maybe I do actually play slow. I'm sorry, Bigga, for...
No, you're good. I mean, we were talking at the time, so...
Oh, yeah, maybe that's what we were doing.
I think that was it.
Maybe we were shooting the breeze about Dora the Explorer. Or...
Probably. Sounds like something we'd do. Alright, there's the move, and there's the missed engagement strike. And there's the blocked attack.
There's the solid block.
So yeah, at this point, there's just the one drone left. We've got Eltahale. Another nice thing about my position right here is that Eltahale is going to take so long to really become relevant to this battle. She's got to come clear, jump up here, and then come around and either try to rush in this way or try to run up here and then come over here. There's just a lot of steps to getting in here. She could also come around this way, but if I've still got
thunder steps,
a lot of thunder steps. There you go.
I'm sorry. Oh yeah, that was a big block right there.
Yeah,
keeping that drone alive so that he could tie down.
That was actually really, really good for you, because not being able to move that Nikita or divider freely was... it just kept me from being able to set up to receive Eltahale like I really wanted to.
Yep. So yeah, you're going to see me, and I'm debating this exact thing that Bigga was trying to point out. I mean, with Eltahale, where do I go? Do I go down onto the road and then try and swing around on the road? Or do I develop more slowly by going up onto the height? And I decide to take what I consider to be the safer route.
Which I think is probably... good in hindsight. I wasn't really thinking about it at the time, because I was more focused on why this drone wouldn't die. But I mean, I think if you'd come this way and then say next turn I killed a drone and then had a Nikita ready to snipe Eltahale,
right,
that's a couple wounds that you don't need, where you could just force it to be even ground. The problem is that the even ground forcement on this map is kind of difficult to play around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my order markers are really easy here. Just I was not about to chance an attack or an order marker on that drone. But yeah, you've got more of an interesting... Do you remember what was going through your head right now as you're trying to plan out your order markers?
Yeah, so at this point, with my order markers, I was basically thinking about how best to receive Eltahale as she came in. Basically, Thunder Ram was kind of scaring me, because if she comes in and Thunder Rams a drone, a Nikita, and Raelin, or even both Nikitas at the same time, or both dividers. I keep mixing up my drones and my dividers. I've been doing that a lot this game, but
yeah, me too.
Basically, I didn't want too many to get caught by a Thunder Ram at the same time, because I felt like that would be a quick way for me to just lose the lead that I have in this game. And so ultimately, you'll see it here in a second, but I put order marker 1 on Raelin, because my first thought was I can either use my dividers, bring them back, and try to kill this drone while I'm waiting for Eltahale to come in, but I didn't like how much that clustered me up. So instead I moved Raelin up so that I can take this spot, I can make an attack, which missed. So that was kind of sad. If that went through, that would have been huge for me. That would have been great. Since it didn't go through, that's now huge for Flash. But what that also does is that lets me protect a divider that's up here. It lets me protect figures around more, so that I can progress further up if I need to. Say I'd killed that one, I could now move a Nikita up here to take a shot and keep a Nikita down here, and basically just spread out. Even without that kill, I'm still protecting my figures in the start zone. I'm protecting my forward figures, and Raelin. Also, the other big thing that I was looking for, I no longer have Raelin and Laglor right next to each other, so they can't both get hit at the same time.
Yeah, so that drone surviving was huge for me because it made it easier for me to bring out Eltahale because I'm not worried about, I've still got that one Nikita pinned down, tied to the drone. So I'm going to just rush Eltahale out pretty much in the open to the point where I can decide.
That was annoying.
To the point where, and I had to double check. I was double checking to make sure, okay, no Nikita agents are going to be able to get a hide attack down on me. I was pretty positive you weren't going to risk a disengagement. But that's going to set me up to do a couple things. Number one, I can go around into the start zone and try and rush Laglor and that Nikita down there if I really wanted to with the Thunder Ram. Or I'm close enough to Raelin that I can use Thunder Step.
Yeah, it's got some really nice options for you right now. And like I said, that space especially was bugging me because so I don't have this Nikita free. I guess I could have thought more about disengaging, but I basically didn't because at this point in the game, I'm like, I want to keep my Nikitas alive as long as possible. I don't want to lose one to a disengagement attack just to, try to put a couple wounds on Eltahale. I'd rather play it safe at this point.
Yeah.
Is what was going in my mind. I'm sure there's an argument either way. But basically what that also meant was this Nikita couldn't come up this way. And then in order to get an attack on Eltahale, I had to go clear out of Raelin's aura. Because Raelin's aura is only hitting here, and there's no way I've got line of sight through that wall. And so instead I opt to go further out, even further so, to keep a Laglor Thunder Ram from becoming a chain reaction between these two. And then my attack was also blocked on Eltahale, but I did kill the drone.
Nice.
I think I was still pretty happy to kill the drone at that point.
Yeah.
Because I was done with it.
Yeah, so I'm debating switching back over to me right here. I've got lots of options, right? Do I go down and try and take that Nikita that's no longer in Raelin's aura?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about that, but then to do that, I would have opened myself up to a hide attack down from a Nikita.
Right.
And I decided that wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah, so instead you've got this nice Thunder Ram, which was only one skull, so I was happy.
Yeah.
And then I blanked my first two rolls, so then I was sad.
Yeah, but it was huge. I was able to kill that Nikita.
Mm-hmm. And even if you'd gotten even one more wound and one more skull and put another wound on Raelin, that would have helped that progression a lot as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was pretty scared of Eltahale just because of how much Thunder Ram can do to a small number, pretty compact army, which is why I was trying to spread out, but also I didn't love spreading out because my army doesn't like to spread out.
Yeah.
And this is the part where I wanted the Nikita to have 6 move.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be able to run around this way and take a shot. Instead, I don't think I took a turn running up that way. I think I just stayed down here and took a shot up. Also trying to position, though, where I'm not going to get Thunder Rammed. I was trying to find a place. I mean, Raelin had been helping me so much this game, but at this point, I'm like, if I try to get within Raelin's aura, I'm going to get Thunder Rammed.
Yep.
Oh, I did run up that way. Oh, I think I was just checking line of sight, just putting the figure there to see.
Actually, no, I think you did. No, that was your placement.
Was it?
At first you weren't sure, but then...
Oh, we did, because once I put it there, it did look a lot more like I could see that.
Yeah, and that was a huge block for me. That was a huge block. Yeah, so obviously we've kind of reached that point in the game where I don't know that the map is really influencing too much of the action.
Right.
Now, right. Since Eltahale is in the middle of things. And
I mean, I think one maybe kind of sort of nice thing is that if I start my army this way, then it makes it harder for me to kite around. But I mean, say this was, I don't know, Guilty or somebody who, you see a lot of in games. They'd be able to, like, since they've got more life, be able to take shots, run up here, take shots, run up here, take shots, and so there's that consideration. And I think actually that's why maybe you decided to thunderstep over to this Nikita agent.
Yep.
In order to keep her from running around on the map, because I mean we already saw how El Tehel had a hard time getting across the map. You didn't want to do that again.
Yep. Exactly.
And rolling three defense dice was not the happiest feeling. I'd been rolling 5 defense dice this whole game, except for Raelin. So I got a taste of what Flash had been doing all game. Yeah, so that's the round.
Yep.
Still a little tricky for me, where basically, no, if I'd won initiative this one, yeah, because you won initiative.
Yeah.
If I'd won initiative, I would have loved to, like, taken you on down there with my dividers, but such was not the case.
It was not to be. And both of your dividers are still in Raelin's aura, so I decide here to go for the Thunder Ram. So I didn't know 3 wounds on Raelin. I mean, obviously El Tehel can do that with a good Thunder Step, but I didn't want to. I mean, with the potential to impact more figures, decided to use Thunder Ram there.
Take out, especially since that's where my order markers are. I think, like, if you can wound Raelin and then take out a divider and get me down to 1 divider for the rest of the round, that's really nice. I blocked it.
But then you came out and blocked it like a champ.
Hey, rolling 5 dice is nice. And so now I was just able to surround you with dividers. So yeah, even though I lost initiative, it still worked out pretty well for me.
Yeah, Thunder Ram isn't an option for me anymore unless I want to go
just Thunder Ram Laglor for fun.
Take 3 disengage.
3 disengage for I mean, you can't even hit any other figures, so just a 4-5.
Yeah, so then we just decided to go all in on Raelin.
Yeah, for that last wound, and you dealt a lot of wounds.
Yep.
So, I mean, like, I feel like there were a lot of big rolls both ways going on here, because earlier you blanked to one of my attacks.
Yeah.
And so, it was it was a very exciting endgame with how the rolls were going.
Yeah. Block that attack.
Yeah.
Block that one too.
It's like all or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a really fun endgame.
I was also always hoping that I'd be able to get a divider back, because I'm like, I rolled 1 successful divider earlier in the game, but there were so many figures around that divider that I couldn't get a new one, and now when their spaces open up, I still can't roll that divide.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got my first 2 engagement strikes successful, so D20 is always fickle. Oh, but I do remember, actually, you talking about, in retrospect, thinking about, instead of earlier when you attacked that divider, taking a Thunderstep down to Laglor to try to kill him and finish him off.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. But then his defense, he's got 3 defense. 3 defense, he's still got 3 lives left, and there were 2 dividers. So it's like, if I go down and try and Thunderstep on Laglor, am I going to kill him? Probably not. But then I was worried that your order marker 3 was going to be on those dividers, and you were going to bring both those dividers down and get 2 attacks on me of 3 again, which I figured the 1 attack from Laglor, I'll risk that instead of 2 attacks versus dividers. But then, of course, you go and roll 3 skulls, and I blank.
Yeah,
and next thing you know, dramatic turn from where I was feeling pretty comfortable. You've got, 3 life Laglor and 1 divider. Now I'm down to a 1 life El Tehel and a 1 life Eldgrim.
Not quite the position you'd like to be in.
And then this initiative switch.
Yeah. And with Laglor on road now, I was able to swing up. Basically, I had my choice of, like, the little islands to go to. Having 7 range with Laglor, I'm like, I'd better maximize my range. That way you don't have the option of Thunderstepping my way.
Yep. Smart play.
Thank you. Thank you, Flash. You played well as well.
Well, thanks. I played okay.
I haven't been complimenting you enough this story.
Yeah, there's 2 skulls, and
Yep.
then another costly blank, and then Eltahil's gone.
Yeah, and then I
And,
also
notice
had
my
that.
order markers. And then, yeah, you get your auto load
Yeah, because
on Eldgrim.
guns on a flag are things.
And they're my shields. Eldgrim.
I know,
gets
right?
2.
Eldgrim just living to the end. I just run away a little bit so that if things go terrible, Eldgrim can't engage me right away. But I believe this attack went through. Not to spoil it, but yeah, there's those 3 skulls.
Yep, a fitting end, an insta-kill on Eldgrim.
Yeah.
Fitting end.
Yeah, I mean, like, in all, it was a fun game overall. I think, though, I mean, like, and really it came down to be pretty close. I've got a 3-life Laglor and 1 Marrow Divider remaining. So, I mean, like, a pretty close game overall. But, I mean, if you consider the fact that Flash got, what did we say? It was 5 turns in a row with at least 6 drones. I think 2 of those were 9. And then he got another one later on with 6 drones. No, he got another one later on with 9 drones, but he only had 4 left. But I mean, like, if you consider that kind of a swing in the early game, I mean, like, that probably should have looked a good amount different. But just being able to hold this little piece of ground so well with the dividers and Nikita was just debilitating to Flash's army.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I mean that's I mean you brought up the point earlier. I mean think about that was 2 squads of dividers.
Yeah, just two squads.
Change out those 2 squads of dividers for 2 squads of rats.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you think about the difference. That's an additional defense dice. So maybe some of those kills on dividers wouldn't have gone through with that additional defense dice, right? And the maneuverability, of rats. Those that D20 was the only thing that kept me in the game that long because of the solid position that you were able to establish.
Yeah, that was the only thing that let you like both attack my position and bring up reinforcements at the same time. Without that, I mean, like we said, if you'd tried to slow roll any more than you had, I'd be up here. I'd have Raelin like right here, and just be controlling this whole area, and that just it widens out my front, which lets you hit a few more places at the same time. Which I mean, I guess with like only 2 squads of dividers, not the best thing ever, but even still, that's like really strong with me. Also with Nikita agents, I'm not too afraid to put them in the front because they've got engage and strike, and if that doesn't work, I've still got the 5 defense with Raelin.
Yep. Yeah, it's a tough nut to crack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, and I mean, we picked this map purposefully. Like we said, we've both played games on this map before, so we both kind of had a feel for how this game was probably going to pan out.
Right.
Even with these weaker armies, it's still like you still see a lot of the same themes and connections that you would see in like even stronger armies or even weaker armies. But I will say, when I'm looking at maps to play on, if only having one real route out of the start zone, or at least when there should be 2 routes, if there's really only one of those is viable, that's a red flag to me, because that not only like even if the gameplay becomes balanced, like in this one it ended up being a close game, but even then it just kind of skews the gameplay so that every time you play on this map you're always going to be developing this way, and whoever has range is going to have the advantage, or whoever, like if you both have similar range or melee, whoever has the glyph is going to be at the advantage, because it's just too hard to come down, leave the start zone to the right and try to take that glyph.
Yep, exactly. So maybe just real quick, now I realize, we've done this in threads on Heroscapers before, but just, I don't know, when you look at a map, like what are the kind of go-to things that just real quick you're looking for when you play test it?
Like real quick, like I guess kind of like red flags.
Yeah, like the red flags.
Yeah, so perfect. That'll be like, kind of like I said, if you've only got like one real path, if there's an obvious way out of the start zone, if you've got yours and mine hills. Also, I don't love islands of height, or like I call them either islands or turrets. And you kind of see that on this map with like these little areas. It's really not terrible, but you do kind of see it when you're trying to traverse across the map. These little road bumps just like slow down movement a lot. And this is all road, so it's not the worst thing ever. It's actually pretty okay because you can also hide behind the hive and you've got some movement. So that is something that this map is actually doing pretty decently. But say this wasn't road and this is just normal terrain, you can like it just takes longer to move across it. It's also a good place for ranged figures or even melee figures. If you're forcing the battle to come to you, this is a good defensive position for figures to sit up, have a defense advantage and an attack advantage, and it just slows the game down and it doesn't promote interactive play.
Yeah.
I feel like. Yeah, also another thing that I've been looking for a lot more is like high ground right next to a glyph. That's another thing I don't love about this is you can take this hill and have this glyph and like it's no contest.
Yep. At least the highest point on the map, right, is right next to that glyph. So it really does turn it into the yours versus mine. Who has the better glyph? In the case where, like, we kind of manufactured a little bit here. You know, if Wanek shows up on your side. Now, obviously, I mean, you probably didn't really have the figures to spare throwing figures at Wanek. Once again, I keep coming back to rats, but trade your dividers out for rats. And you can bet that, you know, if I'm not swarming a bajillion drones up there, that you're taking Wanek with a rat, and then you're forcing me even more to come to you and to take a really undesirable position or approach.
And that's also, I think Wanek is a good way to test out for like yours mine glyphs. Like if you're not certain if a map has too much of a favor to one side for glyphs, or if it's like going to become a yours mine situation, plug in Wanek for one of them because Wanek really exploits that. But basically, like Wanek is already a come at me glyph. If you've got Wanek plus high ground, then that like is come at me. Also, I have the advantage, and so that's never a situation that you want to see when you're going into, especially like in an end game scenario.
Yeah. Totally. Well, maybe it would be valuable to just take a quick second and just like any thoughts for improvement on this map.
Yeah, definitely. I think we kind of designed this matchup to focus on the map weaknesses in this case.
Right.
But there are still good things going on with it. Like we said, this pillar right here is especially really good at keeping the range down. I think in general, actually, like, I mean, I was running Laglore with Nikita Agent, so I had 8 range going on. Most of the time, I didn't even need Laglore because, partially because you were swarming in so fast, but also because the line of sight blockers are actually doing a really good job where they are. It's just like in this case, like for this wall, for example, this is doing a good job of like keeping people from shooting into the start zone or shooting out of the start zone too much. Unfortunately, it is creating this choke point right here. But still, that's pretty good. This one is awesome. The hive right here, really, I do like that element. I just think that there's a little bit too much road bumpiness going on here. So I think, you'd have to mess with the pathing a little bit. But I think if you like focused on those strengths and kind of filled in a little bit of this height to make this lateral, right? That's the right way.
Sure.
The side-to-side movement across the map a little bit easier. I think that'd help the map a lot. And also, I would get rid of the glyphs.
Yeah.
Or at least move them central or something, depending on how it worked out.
Yeah, that would be interesting to bring them more into the middle. Interesting to consider. Yeah, probably my suggestions would be these battlements coming out to the, when you develop to the right. Yes, those ones. Just take an already losing battle and make it a little bit worse. So changing those battlements. Now, I think what would be interesting, I haven't thought about this very much, but what I think would be interesting is I wonder how just a simple change like adding battlements to the front.
Oh, like right here?
Yeah, exactly. Oh. How adding battlements there would impact development.
So like if you lose these guys and then wall
and
up
gain those ones, I wonder what that would do for development. I think that would be
Oh, I
worth,
like that.
thinking about.
That's a
But
and
then
that's
you're
a really simple.
slowing down, right,
Yeah.
the amount of figures that you can develop. It seems like a simple change that would spread out how you develop across the map.
Yeah. I really like that, and that'd be a very simple thing to be able to like test out. I don't love it when there's like when it feels really slow at first. So I think the other thing that we kind of touched on during the game is to like take these road hexes that aren't really doing a ton back here and maybe use those to plug in over here
Yeah,
so that
exactly.
developing onto the road not only gets you like, you don't only have the movement from start zone to start zone, but you can also have the movement from start zone to height to start zone, and
Yep,
then also across the map. I think
exactly.
I think that'd be pretty good.
And using a road tile to kind of fill that gap just a little bit between the level 2 road and the place where you set up your pod. If you could stick even just one,
Right
maybe
here.
2 road tiles right there,
Yeah.
I feel like that would do a ton. And then maybe bringing out a couple extra road tiles to where it butts up against or is adjacent to that level 3 height like you were showing earlier.
Yeah. And then you could like fill this in with swamp water, and then the name by Babylon Rivers makes a little bit more sense because there's more than just 4 swamp tiles on the map. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, like that could ruin pathing. I just want a little bit more water.
Sure.
That's really where that comment is coming from.
Yeah. Now in Superfrog's defense, his swamp water tiles, they stick together really, really bad, at least according to him. And
I think I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Because a lot of mine do. A lot of mine do too. Swamp water actually is one of those. They're kind of irritating to put on a map.
It's nice when you're like transporting the map though, because
yeah, that's true. But for me personally, I think I'd be okay with just putting out 10 swamp water instead of all 34 to free up a few road pieces.
I agree there. Yeah, overall, I mean, like it was a fun game. I did enjoy this game on this map a bit. I mean, there are the issues, but I do think that there's some really good steps to be made with this map, and I
definitely
would love to see it reworked. I mean, like a part of the ARV contest process, or however you want to call that, there is a workshop thread that is made for like maps that don't pass the gauntlet or whatever the first time. And so like there are ways for map creators to work on their maps and get feedback. And I mean, I think this map would be great for it. It's not in a position right now where I'd use it in a tournament, but I do think that like with some of these suggestions, I do think it could become one of those maps that would be really, really cool.
Yeah. And maybe something that hopefully came across is, I don't think, maybe I did this when I had less experience, but I feel like, if something didn't work that I felt like I needed to completely overhaul the map. It's like, really, I don't think most maps need to be overhauled that much.
Agreed.
Now, I mean, I take that with a grain of salt, right?
Some do.
I mean, yeah, let's not bring up like Ember Canyon Road or something.
yeah.
I probably shouldn't call out specifics. Yeah, because then the person that made Ember Canyon Road is probably going to be listening to this and be like, Flash hates my map. And I'll be like, I'm sorry.
Hate's a strong word.
I don't hate it. But yeah, just utilizing everything to the best, and even just some small changes can make such a big difference. Mm-hmm. If you're just paying attention to, I don't know, I try to pay attention to every single hex. And maybe that's my perfectionist nature. But
well, I mean, I think
every single hex matters.
Yeah, it really does. And I think it was Game Bear, one of the OG super awesome map makers, who said, I mean, like it might have been said fairly casually, but I think it's true that like you said, every hex matters. You shouldn't have a wasted space on the board. And I mean, like I think that's just something to pay attention to, because if you've got spaces that are just kind of filling, like if they're just taking up space, you can probably find a better place to use them.
Yeah.
Or just take them off from the map, and sometimes that even still helps the map a lot.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, thanks for talking this map over with me, Flash. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we sign off, or
Oh
any
man,
messages you'd like to leave?
I feel like I've got to keep with tradition and say something to you too. I can't think of anything clever right now.
Next map will be dedicated to you two.
Hey, there we go. There we go. I'll try to think of something clever for a map name.
There you go. Oh,
No,
you
it's
should totally do a
great.
YouTube map. You should totally do a YouTube map.
Okay, I'll think. I'll see what I can come up
Inspired
with.
by one of their songs or something like that. I don't know. It should just happen.
Dude, where the streets have no name. That sounds
That sounds like a great map title.
yeah, it's perfect. I
Done.
think. Okay, all right.
Think.
We got to work this in somehow.
Look forward to Flash's new map, Where the Streets Have No Name, coming out soon.
Oh man, no, but thank you so much for having me, Bigga. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this kind of different focus.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it as well. For those viewers watching us, make sure you let us know what you thought about this. Let us know if you enjoyed it, if it's something we should do more. I think it was fun. I'd love to do it again. And yeah, we'll see. I'll also have I like to link stuff in the description below, so make sure you check out Flash's maps as always. Also, make sure you check out Superfrog's maps, because he's got a lot of maps, and a lot of them are really, really cool. I mean, hopefully us nitpicking this map purposefully in this video doesn't make you think that the rest of his maps aren't worth trying, because they're definitely worth trying. There's some really good maps in Superfrog's thread, so make sure you check those out. Let's see. Also, make sure you check out the ARV stuff. Those contests are fun. The workshop is a cool place to get feedback. You can get feedback from Flash himself. It'll be awesome.
And Bigga.
Well, yeah, me too. Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, and have a great day.
And remember to see the good in the world, right, Bigga?
Yeah, man. See the good in our glorious world, because it's glorious. It is glorious. There's several songs that pop into my head every time I say that line, but you know.
Or to borrow from another U2 song. It's magnificent. That's a good one.
Ooh, it's magnificent. I like it.
It's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day.
Don't let it get away. Oh man, I'm on a roll now.
Nice. I like it. And for the next 10 minutes, as we slowly fade to black, will be Flash naming songs about the world. Just kidding. 10 points under it.